Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and Merry Christmas to ya. Welcome into another edition of Cory Comments On. I am your host, Cory McKnight. You are the audience. You can join me every Friday at 6 p.m. right here on All WNY Radio. And if you don't know, now you know. Welcome into the show. It's Friday, December 21st, 2018. It is also the first day of winter today, besides being Christmas Eve and Christmas Day right around the corner, the holiday season, New Year coming up. We got the first day of winter today on the 21st, the official scientific date for the first day of winter, and in Western New York, it's like 60 degrees, and I don't care at all. That's amazing. Fuck it. Whatever. White Christmas? What? Who cares? I mean, if you're not from a snowy area, people always are like, oh, it's probably really beautiful, and like, oh, I would love to see the snow if they live in Texas and shit. No. Silly right there. But yeah, it's the first day of winter, and I love the fact that it's not snowy, and it's not really particularly cold today. Still wet out here, but it won't last too long probably anyway. It's going to move out probably by tonight, and it'll be back to like 25. That's how we do over here. We get a little bit of everything. But today on the show, this pre-Christmas edition, I'm not going to talk about Christmas anymore because, I know, it's fucking kind of played out at this point, right? Got all the Christmas you can handle by the time it actually comes around, and then you're just like sick of it. Or I am anyway. So let's talk about something much more interesting and much more fun, and that is the fact that marijuana is probably going to be legal in New York for recreational use pretty soon. 2019, the year to come, it's going to be a big one for New York because it's looking like that's going to be the case, and you'll love to see it. Love to see it for a bunch of different reasons, but the fact of the matter is that it's about time. That's how I feel. It's about time. It took New York and Andrew Cuomo in particular forever to finally legalize MMA in New York, mixed martial arts like UFC fighting, and that was just a joke. By the time that New York finally legalized it, it was legal everywhere else. MSG could have hosted UFC events and couldn't profit off of that, and Cuomo was like, oh, it's barbaric. Can't watch two men fighting. He had a similar take on weed, even with most of the states that border New York legalizing weed, and of course Canada as well, right across the border it's legal. He still wouldn't budge. He was against it, and now things have switched. There's been a sharp trend lately, probably, I don't know, I would say, I guess the past 4 or 5 years, where, especially since Colorado, I think was the first to get the recreational weed going, the legal weed. It's flipped over in the fact that people are like, you know what? Whatever, let them smoke the weed. I think that there's a lot of different reasons for that, but the fact that we're adults is really the only reason you need. I mean, and adults are going to make bad decisions too. You can do whatever you want once you reach a certain age, at least in the U.S. of A. But if you're doing things that are hurting people, you're doing hard drugs, you're doing methamphetamine, you got a meth lab in the backyard, it blows up, catch your neighbor's house on fire. We don't want all of that. That's not what I'm saying. But for marijuana in particular, pretty damn harmless. There's no pot labs that are blowing up and catching the neighbor's house on fire. I mean, maybe if you made a brush fire out of a bunch of weed and just, I mean, possibilities are endless, but nobody's dying from weed is what I should be getting to there. And now Andrew Cuomo's take on it, he was quoted as saying, let's legalize the adult use of recreational marijuana in New York once and for all. And hell yeah, it's about damn time, Cuomo. He's really changed on his stance there, whether it's because of his, I don't know, motivations that are, I mean, every politician is doing things for motivations that aren't exactly their particular feelings maybe on that issue. Money, of course. But Cuomo has flipped his stance on it, and that's great. But it's not a done deal. It's not like this is, going to be a shoo-in here. But, because it's still, the Mayor Bill de Blasio out in New York City, and I know New York City, rules New York, it sucks. But he is still hesitant with the whole legalization of weed, saying that he went back to seeing his father when he was a young boy be addicted to cigarettes and alcohol, and he said that you can't take addiction lightly when you've seen it. And that is true. It's a very good point that he's made there. You can't take addiction lightly, especially when you've been through it. And now I think a lot of families are hit by the opiate crisis, especially being connected with addiction and seeing it right in their own home. So that's a good point, but marijuana addiction, it's not the same. The cigarettes and the alcohol, god damn, that'll kill you quick. Alcohol could kill you in one night. Cigarettes, probably not. I mean, that would be something to see if somebody killed themselves smoking cigarettes in one night. That would be crazy. But marijuana is not going to kill you in one night. Are there people that have been impaired that get behind the wheel of a vehicle, something like that, and have maybe done dumb shit? I'm sure there have been. But I'm talking about just using the substance itself. One night, alcohol will kill you. Alcohol poisoning. There's no marijuana poisoning. So he's right. You can't take addiction lightly when you've seen it, but I think it pales in comparison, really, to the addictions to nicotine, tobacco, and alcohol in the U.S. anyway. Weed is not on the same plane. His wife, Shirlane McCrae, also supports legalization. Bill de Blasio's wife, that is. And she made a good point, too, actually, though, about the fact that it can still be potentially habit-forming, and she also cited her personal experience with it, but she cited herself. She dealt with depression and said that she was reliant on alcohol and marijuana to get through that point, to relieve the stress or whatever, and that's she brought up a good point there. Because there's a difference always between the use, the misuse, and the abuse of drugs. And not to be a rehab session here, but there is a difference. And the misuse and abuse of drugs is a sad thing, but it does happen. And as long as you just got to stay in the use column, right? Like, you use it, it's medicinal now, it's great. It's good for a lot of things. If you misuse it and try to self-medicate your depression with marijuana, that's where the problem is. But do we blame the weed? I don't know. Case by case, people are different, but I'm just glad that there will for sure be a decrease in arrests, criminal records for young people, for like weed charges, marijuana charges, people of color in particular that are in jail for freaking 25 years for pot. It's unreal. And for everyone, it benefits everybody, really. It doesn't matter, really, your socioeconomic background. Those two groups in particular, young people that are trying to get jobs and they have weed charges that prevent that, it's so stupid. And being in jail, it's terrible. But even your everyday average Joe the plumber that likes to smoke some pot after work or whatever, and then he gets busted with, a dime bag and has to go to jail. It ruins his family, and then Christmas is never the same. That stuff is dumb. Why has it been going on for so long? I'm with Cuomo. Let's legalize the adult use of recreational marijuana in New York once and for all. I think it's good for everybody. What do you think? Are you against the legalization of the marijuanas in New York, and why? Tell me why, either way. On Twitter, @allwnycory. Shout me out about anything you want. Let's talk. I'm here for you. And we'll smoke some legal weed maybe if you're in New York. Everything legal. Can't cross state lines with it still, but come to New York. We'll have a good time in a few months when that shit is legal. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me here on another episode of Cory Comments On. I'm done ranting. Hopefully you're done listening. And you guys take care. I will see you next week, next Friday at 6 p.m. Merry Christmas, everybody. Enjoy your holiday. Enjoy the new year. I'll talk to you before then. But Cory McKnight, signing off. See ya.